everyone.
Hi.
Hello, Amy.
Hello, President Amy.
You are host, Amy.
I see that. You're quick tonight, Steve.
Yep, I got a 7 o'clock call I got to take. So,
Ah, gotcha.
Is it? I was going to call you at 7, Steve. Is it me?
no. Unfortunately, Gord. Unfortunately.
Okay. I will have you all know I put on the orange. I can't handle myself in orange.
Amy, you make everything look great.
Oh, you're such a sweetheart. Okay.
Renee looks good in orange. That's the country of her color, her color of her country.
That's right. Hup.
Renee, you must have all kinds of orange gear. She's connecting to her audio. We're talking about her and she can't behind her back.
I know you are, John. Don't worry. Keith, I got a question for you.
Oh.
Do you walk to the village in and back?
Yes.
I think I saw you yesterday. I was going to honk, but I wasn't 100% sure it was you, but I didn't know what other guy do I know that has that many tattoos and that hair.
But I didn't go to the village. I walked right past it.
Oh, but you were walking up Scugog though.
Yes, yeah. I live in Longworth, Liberty area, so I walk down to King, cross King, up Old Scugog, back to Longworth and back.
I know where you live. I dropped off your
Oh, okay.
roster.
Thank you.
Hello, neighbor. I live in Longworth and Liberty too.
Ooh, I'm gonna come over and say hi.
Yeah, I'm in the condo.
Oh, are you on the corner there?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
I'm behind Shoppers, the bank.
Yep.
Welcome, Vanessa. I know we've got no video yet, but welcome. Oh, there she is.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. Hey, Vanessa.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, I find this having to admit people and actually talk is difficult. I'm not so smart.
Yeah, I had
Hey,
lunch
Peter.
with
Hey,
John.
how are you?
Good.
Yeah, John, I had lunch with Steve Rutledge today, and we the Sunday Club.
Yeah.
So far, we $700 coming from the club in York.
Yeah, I have that check, Ellie.
You got that? Okay.
Yeah,
good.
John dropped it off.
I'll make note of that. And the one from Wellington said if we apply for a global grant, they'd be in, but other words, not.
Mhm.
We've got,
I'm going to have a look at that, Ellie. You know how difficult it is to get a global grant. How much is involved, and I was trying to do it in a way that would have saved us a lot of hassle, but I'll have a look at it.
yeah, because right now our club isn't even certified to apply for one. Because when I did it and Joe did it, they're only good for a year. So people in the club have to step forward to take the course. So we can even apply for even a district. So we can't apply for any grants right now.
Yeah, I'd probably have to pass it
Right.
on to one of the other clubs.
Yeah, well, for the global, it has to be the host that applies for it. And we can partner with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing
And-
is, they're a new club, Ellie, and they don't have the experience in that either.
Oh, I know. Yeah, but Steve was saying he just runs from the thought of having a global grant because it's so difficult.
Yeah.
Financial part of it and everything else, and the accounting and the agreements that have to be signed by the host club that they will guarantee maintaining it. So our club would have to guarantee not our club, but the Rotary Club in Sunday would have to guarantee they will maintain the equipment at the hospital for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, I think I'm going to have to try and be extremely persuasive. So the next 7070 president's meeting, I will try and do that. And
Yeah.
we'll see where we get with it.
Yeah. Steve was gonna
We'll
send,
let you two talk about that.
yeah. Are we ready?
No, not
Okay.
quite, but I wanted to say hello to Veronica, who just joined us.
Yeah.
And I think we should say hello to the king. Haven't seen him in a while.
Hey, kids.
Hey, Mike.
My
So, Mike-
goodness.
I know, sorry, I've been a bit
Remiss.
preoccupied, but remiss. Oh, there's Gord. Hi, Gord.
Hello, Michael. Is anything new in your house?
Oh, all kinds of new stuff.
I don't know what we don't have, there's Lewis. We don't seem to have Vanessa Beilenduke-Guppy.
Yeah, Vanessa's here.
Oh, there she, oh, hi, Vanessa, you're up in the corner. Hey, how are you? I didn't hear back from you, and I was feverishly trying to find your number. Hi, how are you? Good.
We were off today, so I just logged in now.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, all of our guests are here, and I'm just gonna give it another minute or so to.
I think my my glasses are reflecting the.
They
TV.
are, Joe.
So are you watching the baseball game?
Big time, Joe.
But-
Yeah, I see. Good. I was hoping to
Maybe I
be
should
able to
move
watch
that
the
then.
Jays game.
Yeah, maybe I should move that then, so we don't see the baseball game. There we are.
but
You
what-
were there last night, Joe. Did you enjoy
I
it?
was there.
Did you
Great
enjoy
game to
it?
be at, Joe.
Yeah, it was pretty good. My first game of the year.
What's the score?
The score, you mean last night?
Now,
They won 6-5.
Well, they haven't started yet.
oh,
you mean
7:05?
tonight? No, tonight they haven't started.
All right.
Hey, Ted. There's Lewis. Hi, Lewis.
Hi, everybody.
He's
Hi.
got the, what Mosaic, is that the apple tree? No, that's not, you haven't got that yet.
No, this is one that we did for it was like for the Ohio Quarter Horse Show that they had
That's amazing.
down in Ohio. Yeah.
And you did one for a Rotary Club in near Edmonton, right?
I sure did. I
Yeah.
did one in St. Albert.
You'll tell us about that.
All right. Well, I've got
Yeah.
7:03, guys. So I'd like to get started and I'll let people in as they come, but you know, it's Thursday night and I know everybody wants to watch the ball game. So
Yeah.
welcome to everybody. Thank you for being here. It is the September 30th meeting of the Bowmanville Rotary Club. It's our evening meeting. So, and I'd like to welcome our guests. We've got Veronica, Vanessa, and Lewis, who will all be introduced more formally a little later. So welcome to everybody. And this evening, I want to give a toast to Rotary International and the good work that we all do. So to Rotary.
The Rotary.
Cheers.
Leah, where's Leah? There she is. Leah, you have our invocation tonight.
I do. Good evening, everyone. I have to apologize. I have a weird ray of light going on in my screen too. I tried to move, but it's front and center. So apologies. In honor of National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, I thought we could take time to listen, learn, and honor the ongoing trauma caused by residential schools. Let us respect the difficult healing journey of the survivors and their families. Let us consider ways to support healing and commit to the ongoing process of reconciliation, not only today, but throughout the years ahead. For today is a day of reflection that needs to be followed by action.
Excellent.
Right.
Thank you, Leah. For our land acknowledgement, I'm going to sort of steal a bit of your thunder there. So September 30th, 2021. Sorry, I've got to admit, people, I don't like doing this at the same time, marks the first National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Canada. While we believe reconciliation can and should be a daily practice, we also know organizations are observing this day from different starting points. For some, this day may serve as a beginning. For others, it is an opportunity to check in and evaluate what more can be done to recognize the history and legacy of residential schools in Canada. So we want to acknowledge that here in Bowmanville, we are on the territory covered by the Mississauga, the Williams Treaty, and that this land is the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation. We offer our gratitude to Indigenous peoples for their care of the land and for their teaching about this earth. So I would now like to turn it over to Pauline's lovely assistant. John is going to be giving us our birthdays and anniversaries this week.
Okay, birthdays this week, we've got Jim Abernathy and Reg Freety. Anniversaries, Lyle and Barbara Gooden, 49 years. Wow. Yeah. And service above self, we've got Stippy with 8 years. And Wayne Routley, he has a total of 40 years, 16 of which were with our club. Well done, Wayne Routley.
Way to go, Wayne.
Thank you.
Hey, Wayne.
Yeah. Hello?
Do we see, where are you, Wayne? I've lost
Right
you.
over.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Leah, to call on you again, I believe you are going to be introducing our speakers this evening.
I am. I have the pleasure of introducing our speakers. But first, I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So in front of you is the future artwork of an art installation that you'll hopefully be seeing later this fall on one of the walls at the Bowmanville Town Hall. So it's an 8-foot by 12-foot mosaic that's being created as a collaboration between Clarington residents and an Alberta company called Mural Mosaic. The work is part of a Cross Canada Mosaic project, which celebrates the importance of trees. And what better way to represent Clarington, but a beautiful, iconic apple tree. So with us this evening are two guest speakers who are involved in the project and have offered to share an update with us on the project and a little more of a behind the scenes look as to what's going on. So I'd just like to take this moment and introduce Vanessa Beilenduke-Guppy. Hopefully I pronounced your last name right, Vanessa.
Yes,
who is
you did.
Good. Who is the Community Development Coordinator for the Municipality of Clarington. And Louis Lavoie, hopefully I've pronounced your name right, Louis. A visual artist who is a world-renowned artist for his work, of course, and the founder of Mural Mosaic. And it's based out of Sturgeon County, Alberta. So Vanessa and Louis, we thought we would just keep this very informal and do a bit of a Q&A. I've got a few questions just to start, and then we can open it up to our members as well. So Vanessa, to kick us off here, can you share with the group a little bit more on the project itself and how it initially got started?
Yeah, so I mean, all through COVID, the municipality of Clarington's really been, trying to figure out how do we engage community and how do we kind of create these pseudo events where our residents are so used to being able to come together. And so we've done a few things with kits and things like that with family, and we wanted to try and see if we could change it up a little bit. And so I know that Mural Mosaic, they did a mural with the town of Ajax for the Canada 150. So I was familiar with that one. And I had been kind of hearing some pop-ups of Mural Mosaic. So it was just something that we thought this is a really great way to engage community, to have something really long-standing that the community can look back on, see a piece of themselves in, to kind of mark the resilience and the strength that our community has shown through all of COVID. So that's kind of where it started from. And then, of course, the Ontario Power Generation came on in support of it as well. And the library's been working with us as well to kind of put it out and hand it out and all of that. So it has become quite a collaborative initiative.
Amazing. So can you give us a little bit of a taste, if you've started to receive some of the tiles back, as to what we will be seeing on the individual tiles, and if there was any protocols that the families had to stick to when they picked up their kits?
So when we did the pickups, we did have a drive-by pickup. So we did, adhere to COVID protocols. The bags were placed within their cars so that they've signed up and all of that. I would say it's a broad range of community members. So we did engage, we wanted to make sure that all of our community was represented. And so we did engage a few of the local retirement homes to participate, the camps, so that our youth were definitely represented. And then I would say picking it up, there was a broad range of people who had signed up. So in getting them back, I did contact Lewis's colleague, Phil, because some of them are a little, you have young kids, so they're a little abstract, I would say. Some of them, but he did say that he could work with that, but a lot of really, really beautiful ones as well. The Clarington Museums provided us with a list of historical landmarks and things that someone might think of when they think of Clarington, just as kind of ideas. So we did provide that list to them on the website. And we did have a few groups like the Architectural Conservancy of Ontario and the Newcastle Historical Society. They've all put one in as well. So hopefully when we kind of put it all together, it will be nicely represented of our community.
Amazing, amazing, exciting. So Lewis, a couple questions for you. You are, of course, the artist behind this amazing project. Can you describe the process that's required on your end? So what's involved on pulling this mosaic together? I can't even imagine once you get the tiles and even from the beginning, the initial creation of it and thought of it to pulling it together in the end.
All right. Yeah. First of all, thank you for inviting me to be a special guest. I love the Rotary. I feel the Rotary does so much. And here in Alberta, I mean, it's just a real honor to be part of your Rotary Club tonight. So the main thing that we try to do is give people a feeling of inclusiveness. And the funny thing about art is hard to be inclusive. It's kind of like, people paint a picture and then they try to show it or whatever. So we started coming up with these murals, like having hundreds of people painted pictures, and then we put it all together so it becomes one picture. So when you're up close, if the mural's done right, when you're up close to these murals, the individual pictures stand out. And so you see all the little individual pictures. But then when you stand back, your eye stops focusing on the individual pictures and you see the one inclusive picture, the one main picture. And I'm not sure if everyone could see this. So this is one of the murals I did for the Rotary Club here in St. Albert. And it was done as a fundraiser. And so if you look back here, I'll slowly zoom it in. So what we decided on was to show the vaccination of polio and how, Rotary's taken upon themselves to polio, push it over. So I have a little child here receiving a polio shot. But as you move in close, the little child will disappear. And all you'll see is some of the individual things that Rotary does. And here in St. Albert, we built this playground and we have the different Rotary things that we do. We give a lot to Malawi, and there's one of our exchange students and that, but when you pull away, it starts to pull together and become the child. And that's sort of, I mean, this is only 24 pictures. So these paintings, we got hundreds of pictures, and these murals are quite big. And I'll show you a couple of the tiles that people do. None of these are the Clarington tiles because we should be getting them soon. I believe they're they're in the mail right now. They're coming. So the tiles aren't very big. They're small little tiles that people paint. And this is a beautiful little robin that somebody painted. I don't know if you guys can see this. I mean, this is done by obviously somebody who knows how to paint, but we do get a lot of paintings from children. And this little painting here is, it's a beautiful little blue painting with clouds and that. And they all work together. We make sure everything works together. It's designed very much like a choir. Like all of us would love to play music. And I've noticed that in choirs, especially when you got like a 75 piece ensemble choir, there are a couple of voices, they reach some kind of octave because of all the other voices. And we find the same thing works in these murals. The less skilled artists, their paintings somehow look a lot more stronger around other artists with real strong styles, and art's a funny thing. It makes you feel that who says this isn't art? You know, like when you look at a little tile like this, who knows who painted this? This could have been like an 85-year-old grandmother, or it could have been a 4-year-old child, or it could have been just somebody like myself, just playing around and having fun with some blue paint. So that's our goal, is to try to give people a sense of inclusiveness. And then I'm sorry, I rambled on. I can't remember what the original question was. Can you repeat that again?
No, I think you covered it. That's perfect. You gave us a very fulsome idea of the process from start to finish. And I think that's exactly, that answered my questions, and hopefully some others here on the call as well tonight. I'm curious, and this could either be put out to yourself, Louis, or Vanessa, where did the idea of the apple tree come from? I mean, it represents Clarington to a T, I'm sure we can all agree, but was that the municipality's kind of focus, or was it a collaboration between both of you?
So yeah, Louis,
I could start, Vanessa, and then I'll pass it on to you. So we came up with the idea, and it is kind of a First Nation idea. I heard a story about how there's this sense that all are connected because trees and plants, their roots all kind of connect, and there's a saying that the whole world is connected through trees. It's a First Nation parable somehow. I can't really quote it right now, but I thought, you know what, it'd be great is to do trees and show how they're connected. I'll quickly show you a rough one that we're just trying to finish up right now. So we do these trees, and this is the community of people painting in this, and we're trying to show how trees connect. And so by just putting that out there, when we approached Clarington, Vanessa, do you want to share your part? Because then you came back to us and said, hey, we're all about apple trees here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think so, the Canada 150, which is how we were at first familiar with Mural Mosaic, it was a national campaign. I don't know if you'd call it a campaign, Louis, but so each community had the train of a car. And then, Phil, Louis's colleague, had sent me this book that connected all of them. So it connected the country together. And so this year, Louis, of course, talks about the theme of the tree. And so we were kind of talking about, Phil and myself and my colleagues were talking about what we would like to see. And he said, do you want to do something, completely unique and different, or do you want to fit in with this tree theme? And, we said Clarington is known, we have our Apple Fest, we have countless apple orchards. Historically, I think most of Clarington was apple orchards. So that's kind of where the idea came. If we're going to do it, we got to do an apple tree. So yeah, that's.
And I was pretty excited to design an apple tree for this project. And it's, and I think it's great because it allows people to paint little red paintings, paint some apple. If you don't know what to paint an apple is what we're kind of saying. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of paintings we're gonna get back and we're gonna put this together. It's gonna look fantastic. I'm really excited about putting this one together.
And I think too, just to talk about the brilliance of these murals, when I got it, I was prepared for numbered tiles and for us to have to keep track of who had what number and, you know, and I got it and it was, they were completely just, there was the tile and then there was a set number of colors. So they get these tiles and they fit it together like a puzzle and they just know how it makes that tree. And it just kind of struck me the brilliance of it when I saw, you know, that this isn't completely decided right now whose tile is where. And yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I'm sure all of us on this call can absolutely, we can't wait to see the finished product for sure. Is there anyone else that would have any questions? I feel like I'm taking up a lot of the time. Members, if there's any questions, please feel free. Rachel?
Well, I had the same question that Vanessa kind of answered. I assumed it was like a paint by numbers, but it's so how does someone get a blank tile, Lewis, and you just tell them what colors to use, or Vanessa, like how does this work?
So we have 700 tiles that went out, and they all came, there was some instruction, like some are considered blue, and Lewis can talk more about it, but some were considered a blue theme tile and some were considered a green theme tile. But then you can do whatever you want with them. And then they get it and they just kind of assemble it. He can talk about that piece.
So what we do is we put together like these little kits and we send paints, a paintbrush, and some instructions into the kits that people can use to paint. And it'll tell them like how to paint a blue board, because you know people think, oh, okay, I paint a blue board, but we try to encourage people like go out, go all out. If you have a dog, paint him blue. It might be a orange dog, but you can make him blue and he'll be in the mural and it'll look like fun. So we give out these little kits. It comes with a little tile. And we get everyone to paint the tiles. Then they send it back to the city has set it up, or the county has set it up so that people can return their tiles. They did, we haven't received them yet, but they're going to send them all back to us in a big box full of tiles. And then we sort through them. It's kind of like a, like an algorithm, I guess. And we kind of sort through the tiles. We put all the darker blue ones here and all the lighter blue ones, and we just start to arrange it out. And then we paint about, I don't know, probably about 50 tiles ourselves, just to kind of blend things together and create lines and edges and stuff. And that's basically how we do it. And we follow, just a little system to do it. When we did the first one that we did, it was for the Canada 150. This is we didn't know how to share it with everybody because we had people all across the country painting. And then we did a Kickstarter campaign and we said, hey, if anybody wants a hard coffee table book of the mural you made, you can order it from us. And we had like tons of orders come in. It was one of those Kickstarter successes. And so when we published the book, I mean, this just kind of shows you all the different murals across Canada that we did. And it was a train car because Canada was actually founded on the railroad. Like when John A. Macdonald said, we're going to reunite this country, he didn't really know how to do it. So he said, we'll build a railroad. And that caused all the problems in Canada as well. But we wanted to make it, we wanted to reunite it and make it a safe, fun thing. Here's Blue Mountains, by the way. So.
Yeah, John, I saw your hand up. You're muted, sorry.
Yeah, my question is, how do the tiles and the paintings resist the weather? Do you have to glaze them or something?
Yeah, so we paint we give everybody a high quality acrylic paint. They can paint with their own, but acrylic's like a plastic when it's dry. And then we give it a clear coat once it's all done. So it's given a clear coat to prevent UV fading and stuff like that. Fading is probably the biggest problem we get. The murals actually, they will fade in like 10 years. They'll start to fade a little bit. but the paintings are pretty, it's pretty, you know, on there. I don't know what to call it. Like, it's pretty solid, I guess, in the end.
Resilient.
And it's resilient. There's the key word. They're very resilient. They're painted on, the tiles are made of aluminum and plastic, so they don't warp. The biggest problem is when you have wood seeps in around the edges and then pushes out the paint. So this stays on there. And I mean, I used to be a sign painter many years ago, and some of my signs are still up and they still look vibrant. And so we want them to last as long as possible, but we also know that murals do fade, and hopefully people will do another big community mural again.
We have chosen a somewhat sheltered space as well, right in the courtyard there at Town Hall. So it will go under an overhang and all of that.
Yeah, I have a couple of things here. First of all, they were kind enough, the people at Mosaic Mural Mosaic were kind enough to send me one of those books, which we could auction off as a fundraiser. It's gorgeous. So thank you for that. We also have, I have two questions. One is to Phil Alain has joined us. Did I pronounce your name right, Phil?
Oh, muted, Phil.
There,
you
can you hear me now?
I guess you're what, like the production manager there at Mural Mosaic, and you're the guy who keeps this stuff rolling. Is that right?
Yeah, you could say that. That's
So what is it like to coordinate all this stuff with this mad genius, Lewis, who has all these incredible artistic ideas? I mean, I just put in the chat, I think this guy's a genius. So what's it like to keep up with this?
Well, I mean, luckily I've had the privilege of working with Lewis for, it's almost 2 decades now. So, you know, we literally met on the street. We were 2 artists admiring each other's work, just panhandling art for a living. And we, because we were both into each other's artwork, we ended up starting to create events together. I put on an art festival that promotes artists and musicians, and Lewis was doing these amazing murals. And I said, hey, why don't we put all the artists that are in my show into one of your murals and see if we can actually make a mural out of a bunch of crazy artists who have no idea what they're going to create other than their individual squares. And we did a 24-hour paint-a-thon. I don't know if I'm repeating stuff Lewis already said.
No.
Okay. So we did a 24-hour paint-a-thon where, if you're not familiar with West Edmonton Mall in Edmonton, but there's a hockey rink in the middle of the mall where you can actually look down onto the ice from the second level of the mall. And we started having artists just sitting around this gigantic grid where they would paint for 24 hours nonstop, just painting individual tiles, and they would only know what colors to use. They wouldn't know what the big picture was going to be. And Lewis was basically like the conductor of the orchestra of artists. And they literally had easels all around the grid, and it was a pretty stressful thing because it was the first mural we ever did, and we had no idea if it was going to work. And TV cameras were coming down to film it, and all we had was a blob of paintings all over the center of this hockey rink. And people are like going, what are those guys doing? Because this had never really been done before. And then at about 7 or 8 in the morning, after we'd been up all night long and plus 12 hours before the workshop, the mural started to come to life. And Lewis and I were up on the second level, we're practically in tears because we're already overly exhausted, and then it's actually starting to work. And then next thing you know, it was just the euphoria that the artists had, and the crowds just started gathering around the ice palace, just waiting for it to come to life. And that was the beginning of it. And since then,
your work work is unbelievable. It's really fantastic. Thank you very much for doing it. And you know, I don't know if we're running out of time. I don't know, but I just want to go back to Vanessa. So when is the payoff? Like, when are we going to see this thing? And are we going to have a big party? And what's the unveiling going to be, and when?
Yeah, so we're hoping, well, a lot of people haven't returned their tiles, so I'm still chasing about 200 people for tiles, unfortunately. which is, I think, the nature of the beast when it's COVID and they're doing it at home and we're relying on them to return it. So yeah, so Phil knows that there's going to be some to paint. I'm hoping it's not going to be 200 of them though. So still working on a few. So we're hoping that we can get it out and unveiled with a ceremony this fall.
Great.
All right.
Good.
Yep.
Peter, did I see your hand up?
Oh, earlier, but Lewis already answered the question.
Yeah, are there any other questions? Now, I want to know where you can get one of those books. Joe, I see that you have one to auction off, but
They were kind enough to send me one. They said, and when I booked them, they said, yeah, we want to send you a book. And I said, okay, well, you know what? I'll figure out a way to use it with the club. And so we can auction it off.
But is there
now or
another
another
place
time.
where you could get more copies? Like, how do we get more copies of this book, Lewis?
Yeah, you can order them on our website. They just go to muralmosaic.com. I'm just warning you, you're going to get stuck on our site and you won't want to leave because it's kind of a little bit of a trap. Once you get there, you can go through murals and click on individual tiles. They'll pop out of the murals and you might be there for a while, but the books are on that site.
Amazing.
Just did that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Incredible.
Fantastic. My mother is the hardest to buy for Christmas, and that's what she's getting.
There you go.
Your work is incredible.
It absolutely is. So yeah, are there any other questions for them before we, it's amazing. Like I loved Lewis with the in and out, like each tile is so specific, but you don't realize it in the greater scheme of things. It's mesmerizing. Yeah, Wayne?
Yes, and where is the mural again going to be located?
So it will be right at Town Hall where the cenotaph is.
Oh, okay.
So you'll see there's the, it's about 4 or 5 steps up to the door, and there's a blank space there right now. So it does have an overhang, but will be very visible.
Very good.
And I'll make sure, I mean, Leah will for sure have the information on the unveiling, but I'll make sure that I send it out through Joe as well, so that your group has it for the ceremony.
Good.
That's fantastic. And, from our club, thank you for what you've done. And I can't wait to partner with you guys again to do another one somewhere else in town, because that is absolutely incredible. Yeah. So thank you for joining us from the West Coast and, from here. You're more than welcome to stay on the call if you want. I get that you guys are probably busy as everybody is. So if you need to drop off, that's fine. But thank you. And inspiring, amazing. Can't wait to see it. So thank you all.
Thank you very much.
I love the Daliism of it.
Sorry, Joe, what were you going to say? You're muted.
I was going to say, yeah, we could have, the next one could be a fish jumping up the ladder.
Fantastic idea.
That's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
I think that was on the list as suggested.
Was it? Okay.
Inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah. So more to come from you guys in Bowmanville, that's for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. So moving on with our program tonight, we have Happy Bucks. Who's happy? Anybody happy? Oh, Joe, you're happy?
Sure. I'll just share what it was like to be at the ball game last night. It was unbelievable. My son had invited me. He had a ticket, an extra ticket. He said, "You want to go?" I hadn't been to a game all year. I hadn't been to a game in a couple of years. We sat way up high, but I've never heard and felt such excitement at a baseball game or a sporting event in my life. It was really unbelievable. And it was so nice to be with, 30,000 people. We were in sort of a social distance area, so it was, we were fine. But it was really, really nice to be able to share that with 30,000 people at a sporting event after what we've been through in the past, year and a half. It was pretty exciting, and we won. So
let's hope they win tonight. John?
Am I muted again?
No, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, I have happy bucks as well. On Sunday, I had the pleasure of being at the Foundation Walk in Trenton. We took a hell of a long time to get it organized. And several times during the period, we thought we weren't going to be able to do it. But we finally managed. It was very successful. We had to split it into two groups because they gave us a maximum of 100. We had 100 in the morning, and I think we had about 60 in the afternoon. But thanks to everyone who went and made it a success.
Very good. Phil?
All right. Yeah, I have some happy bucks. My wife and I celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary this weekend. I surprised her with a trip to Quebec City. We got in the car and drove a long 8 hours, but made it there and stayed Chateau Frontenac and had an amazing weekend in a fantastic city. I don't know who's been there, but I would recommend it to anybody. I hadn't been there since I was 10 years old, but my wife was quite surprised, and it was fantastic. So there you go.
I saw your pictures, and that hotel, I can agree, absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook too. And anytime you want to talk to my husband, our 20th is next year. I'm just saying.
Oh boy, yeah. I don't want to set the bar for anybody. I'll get trouble. So.
Rachel?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a happy buck. I have a friend on Facebook, used to be my neighbor when I was in high school. Her name's Shelly. For her birthday fundraiser this year, she reached out to me and said she wanted to do it for Rotary. And I kind of gave her, the little blurb I like to say about how wonderful we are and all the local charities we donate to. And so she put on her Facebook that anyone that would have bought her a beer for her birthday to send her $5, and she raised $200 and made a donation earlier today for her birthday. So I think that's pretty amazing.
Great.
It's very amazing. Yeah. I'm taking that off of my announcements. So yeah.
Oh,
that was
okay.
great.
Sorry to steal your thunder.
No,
I'm mowing
no.
your lawn.
Yeah. Yeah, Fred, you need to unmute though.
How's that?
Good.
Good. Yeah, this was kind of a surprise to me. Amy handed an envelope to Wayne Routley, who then handed an envelope to me when I had lunch with him a few hours later. And Sunday, I delivered the envelope to Ross Metcalf. Knocked on the door, and the little bugger came to the door and grabbed me and started crying. And we danced a little jig. And I thought our wives were going to beat us with sticks. But anyway, he was so overcome with joy that he got this little recognition from Rotary, and it was really nice. It was a great moment. At least for me it was, and for Ross.
Thank you, Fred.
You're welcome.
Thank you for doing that.
No problem.
All right. No other.
Yeah, I've been trying.
Sorry, Gord. Sorry.
Okay, so I've been trying to give a happy buck for the last, I think it's 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
But Amy likes to cut them out and then or choose one person. So now I have the floor and you can't take it away from me. So firstly, I'd like to thank Amy. Came by and visited and dropped me off a new Rotary pin. That was pretty sweet. It came with a speech, and it's a pretty cool pin as far as Paul Harris fellow pins go. It's got 2 red stones in it. So everybody look that up and find out what that means for your education. Now that's the old Gord old foundation chair Gord talking. Now, happy bucks. That was happy. Amy gave me a great speech. She said congratulations. Then it went on and on and on. So Cameron got his license. So that's a happy buck. He's got a new job that he started tonight at Loblaws. So beware of Cameron at Loblaws, driving at Loblaws, and I can't wait to see what he's doing there. He's in his gap year. So anyway, so just watch out, everybody. Real happy buck. Well, that was a real happy buck. I'm very happy about it. So my happy buck was yesterday. Everybody remember Tim Function?
Yes.
Our dear friend Tim Function. Well, and we all know that Tim hasn't been well. So I went. Not only did I called him, but I went and picked him up. I thought it was a great idea to take Tim out because he's not driving. So I took I packed him in. I folded him up and packed him into the Corvette, and we drove off to go visit Bob Stevens and had a absolutely fantastic time. That is the good Rotary happy buck. And I don't know what Doug says, but I think we should all do that. It was a great time to visit Bob. Bob told us some great, fantastic stories, which we've all heard before, but it was great to hear it yesterday.
Good. Thanks, Gord. Are you done, or should I let you still have the floor?
I don't know. I could
No,
actually
you're done.
carry
Never
on.
mind. Never mind. You're done.
Cut him off.
Cut him off. Cut him off.
All right. Okay. So if we're done with happy bucks, I'd like
No,
to.
Keith has his hand up.
Keith. Sorry, Keith. Yep. Sorry.
It's okay. My oldest daughter is expecting. She's 5 months along. So I'm going to be the grandfather for a second time. And on Monday night, she came over with a cake, and Amy and I cut into it, and inside was blue. So I'm going to be going to have a grandson, a second one. So that's my happy buck.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right. So now I think we're going to move along. That was fantastic. I can't wait till we can do this in person. Community report. So Veronica is joining us from the Youth Center. Leanna, can I ask you, please, if you could introduce?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure to introduce Veronica Breen, the program manager for the Youth Centers of Clarington. They had to cut back their activities due to COVID, but in September they started up again, and the 3 centers are in Newcastle, Curtis, and of course our Firehouse Youth Center in Bowmanville. She's going to tell us what's been happening there, and I'd like to thank her for being part of helping us set up a bit at the summer squad in the summer. We couldn't have done that without her staging and help that way. Yeah, I'll just hand it over to Veronica.
Thank you, Leanna. Thank you, everybody, tonight. And thank you for letting me come back again. I know at the end of last month, I joined a meeting and I had to abruptly leave as my son was stung twice by a wasp in the backyard. And so I apologize for that, but thank you for having me again today. So I was prepared a little bit for a Q&A, but I'd be so happy to share about what we were doing. As we all know, in 2020, in March, we got the word that we had to close the doors. So for about 1.5 years, we have been providing in-person outreach, as well as in-center programming for some of our higher risk youth that we've maintained contact with throughout the duration of the pandemic. This past September, well, actually, let's take a quick step back. I know that some people were surprised in July when the announcements were made that the youth centers could open back up in person, and we chose not to. And one of the reasons that we chose not to is because we were actually able to meet with more youth where they were at during the month of August by providing outreach in the community. We were able to have more youth access programming when we were able to go to their areas and their communities. Some of the communities and the youth that we serve are more rural, don't necessarily have bus transportation. And we can all empathize with the stress and the added challenges and barriers that impacted families, including parents and siblings and those youth that we have that may have been in charge of their younger siblings. So we were very creative in the ways that we were able to continue to maintain contact with our youth. What we have seen since reopening our doors in September is probably about 3 quiet nights. And we've been at max capacity pretty much all of the other evenings at all 3 of our locations, which I have to thank my entire team. We have 3 full-time staff at our youth centers, as well as a complement of our casual staff, who have worked so hard to continue to serve the youth in the community. Some of the biggest barriers that we saw that probably aren't going to be very surprising would be parent-teen conflict. With the additional stress, being at home, doing school, we got to develop some new programs which we didn't have before, like laptop loaner programs to be able to support youth with their technology needs while they were doing virtual schooling or just unable to have those social interactions with their peers. Similar to what the municipality of Clarington did with some of their community kits that they did for some of the younger youth in the area, we were doing DIY Fridays. So we would deliver DIY kits each week for any youth that registered. And it would be anything from craft ideas to cooking, where we would then all come together on a Zoom call and do it with one another. So we were still able to maintain that sense of connection. Now, since being back into the centers, it is incredible that we already have volunteers lined up. We have some groups in programming. Our music program is back up and running. And some of our wellness groups for those youth who were really struggling throughout. We've seen new youth that are coming into the centers as well since reopening. And I would say our biggest challenge right now is numbers and our capacities. So we are looking forward to when we can kind of increase those limits to be able to see more youth coming into the centers. But we're also developing some new partnerships with the schools in the community and creatively getting into their classrooms virtually. So we can make those connections with those youth and either invite them into our spaces or show our vaccine certificates and get into those schools so that we were still able to provide programming at the schools. I have a question for all of you here tonight. I want you to take a step back just a couple of years, and I want you all to think about who was your positive adult when you were growing up. So the age range of youth that we work with is 12 to 18. So when you were in high school, just starting out, who was your positive adult? Was it a teacher? Was it a parent? Was it another family member? Was it somebody that you met in the community? Was it your best friend's parents? That is what we strive to do at the Clarington Youth Centers, is to be that positive adult, to be that adult that will meet youth where they were at with no judgment, and to be able to provide options and opportunities, not advice, because we don't know it all. Sorry, guys, but as adults, we don't know it all. But what we like to do is provide different lenses for youth to be able to explore some of their challenges through. Conflict resolution, problem solving, education, employment resources, but always just saying, hey, did you ever think of it like this? Hey, have you ever looked at it this way? And just providing those opportunities. And I think now more than ever, when we have lost those positive adult interactions that would just happen as we walk down the hallway at school, or they would happen while we were at work, or they were happening at home when our parents maybe weren't dealing with quite as much as we have been over the past year and a half. Those are the roles that we've been able to fill over this last year and a half and continue to fill and will continue to strive to do. And I also want to thank Rotary for all of your support over the years of the Clarington Youth Centers, long before my time, because you guys all know the Firehouse when it was just a baby over 22 years ago. And I've had the pleasure of stepping into this role 3 years ago. But I want to thank you all for your continued support over all of those years. And we couldn't be as invested and engaged in the community work that we do if it wasn't for organizations and support from you guys and organizations like this. So thank you.
Thank you, Veronica.
Oh, you're welcome, President Amy.
Oh, don't, yeah, no.
I wanted to say that.
Oh. Do we have any questions for Veronica? We've got a bit of time.
I had a question, Veronica. So your ages are 12 to 18, and do you find that you retain the kids all the way through that sort of thing? If you have develop that rapport with them? Do they tend to stay with you and come and visit even after 18 or from 12 to 18? Do you get the same kids all the time is what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's actually something that we're experiencing right now. We had youth that aged out during the pandemic. And so we sort of all looked at each other as a team and we just said, birthdays last year didn't count. And so what we've been able to do is still invite some of those youth that have aged out and provide some age appropriate programming and to be able to offer that time for them to still be able to come into the center, because there was a lot of developmental milestones that also weren't hit during this. We had a lot of even graduations and those types of ceremonies where youth would then feel like they're moving on to that next stage.
Right.
They never experienced that. So we have retained those youth. But often what we see, yes, is that when we're in those elementary schools, we get the 12 and 13-year-olds that will start coming into the centers. And those are very much the core group of youth that will grow old with us. And then it is, bringing on new youth and meeting that dynamic as we have all of those ages in the centers at the same time.
Nice, thank you.
Ron Collis had his hand up.
Ron, I saw your hand up, Ron. Yep.
Sure. First of all, Veronica, I'd like to just point out something that the 22 years that the youth center's been in existence. It was I chaired the committee that started it. And one of the things that we did was did a lot of research. We knew the shelf life of youth centers is really short, 1 or 2 years. 22 years is phenomenal. And what really impressed me in what you were saying about the at-risk youth is exactly the things that we had hoped when we started this, that it would achieve. At the beginning, we weren't even close to we were just focused on getting the doors open. But you've taken the gauntlet and you've moved with it. And there's a good reason why it's existed for 22 years, because you've kept this relevant and it's fantastic. I also want to just point out that when the whole thing began, I wasn't part of Rotary, but we had a huge amount of Rotary contributions and committee members. Al Strike, Paul Morris was all part of it. And so this has very much been a community love story, and you've continued to take and see it thrive. So that's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. And I wish I had that photo actually, because I do have a ribbon cutting photo that we happened to come across when the Firehouse was first opened. And so I'm sure you're probably in that picture.
Well, thank you. Are there any other questions for?
I just have a quick question. Are you doing Fright Night at all this year, or do you think it'll happen again? That was always fun for the kids.
It is happening. It's
Is it?
happening.
Oh.
Yes. I think one of the more exciting things that's happening right now is that with this sense of normalcy and some things opening up, is it's allowing us to be able to meet that pillar of service that we have, which is the volunteer and community engagement piece that has been lacking. And so just recently we were able to have a small golf tournament the day after your massive tournament at Newcastle. We had a very small one. And so we were able to have youth volunteers come out and start getting those high school hours back. And Fright Night, it is happening. We are actually partnering with one of your partners again, Watson Farms, and we are taking over their corn maze, and we are going to have a haunted corn maze for 4 nights in October.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Veronica, why don't you send us that information and we will send it out to our club. We'll put it on our Facebook page, right, Rachel?
Oh, thank you so much. I would love that. That would be just wonderful.
Yeah, see how good I am. I'm like, we'll do this, right, Rachel?
I'm on it.
Thank you very much.
Veronica, thank you for coming and joining us. I can't wait till we can actually have you again in person.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me.
Keep up the great work. And I
Thank
hope
you
your
all.
son was okay after his wasp bites.
Yeah.
Luckily, there was no allergies, but we had to learn that the hard way. So yeah.
Good.
Thank you all for your time tonight.
Thanks, Veronica.
Thank you.
So, and a few announcements, because I'm going to try and keep this, on time. First of all, I have some exciting news. October 12th, we're in person. We're doing a hybrid. Thank you, Renee, for the legwork. We're going to be at Rehoboth Christian Reformed Church, which is on Scugog Street, which literally I can almost spit and hit it. It's right there, which is fantastic. The president can walk to the meetings, so that's great. We're going to do a switch over. They're allowing us to keep our stuff there. The Wi-Fi is great. I did have a conversation with a couple of people from Trinity. Sad to leave, but in all honesty, I was chatting with Ken Berry, and his first response to me was, well, why shouldn't other churches benefit from Rotary? So, very positive. Our fees are less. Yeah, so excited.
Okay,
Almost
I have to ask, we're switching from Trinity, but didn't we have like a stint for a year or two at somewhere else?
Well, we did, but they cannot accommodate us at the time.
Right.
So they can only keep us in the same room that we were always in, which you remember how small that room was?
Teeny tiny. For it's smaller for me, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and Rehoboth is large. It has the Wi-Fi. It has all of the technical stuff that we need. So I'm gonna chat with Keith and Steve at the point when we move our stuff from Trinity to Rehoboth. I hope to do sort of a test run just to make sure everything's all good. We'll figure out whatever equipment we need and going from there. A couple of things about that. There are mask requirements, of course, because we're inside. We are not doing any food, beverages. If you want a coffee or tea or muffin or cookie, whatever, bring it. And vaccinations are mandatory. So that's the requirements we have right now. But yeah, so as of October 12th, that's the plan, which I'm very excited. That was my first one. I got an email yesterday. Oh, yeah, Ellie, go ahead.
7:30 a.m. or 7?
So the meeting will start at 7:30. The church will be open by 7, correct, Renee?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so if we want to come earlier to fellowship, like we always did, then that's fine, but the meeting will start at 7:30 as usual. Okay, and we are still going to be doing hybrid. So if there are speakers that are Zooming it, that we have to Zoom in, or anybody who is not able to join us can Zoom in. Everybody's all there, so yeah. Okay, Phil, go ahead.
Thanks, Amy. Basically, just wanted to make a quick announcement with regards to the fundraising committee. So we are looking to run a bottle drive similar to the ones we've run in the past on Saturday, October the 16th. So hopefully this lines up right after Thanksgiving weekend, and everybody will have a lot of bottles and use it as an opportunity to clear out their garages for winter and so forth. So if you can just keep that in mind and participate as you can. We'll be running from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m., hopefully running 2 shifts for volunteers, and looking to get the social media word out as soon as possible and volunteers lined up and just kind of get that word spread. So if you do see the social media, please share it, and we'll try to get it out to the Bowmanville groups as well. And yeah, everything, hopefully goes on. Yes, Rachel, sorry.
I was just going to say, in the last 2 drives we did, Phil, we hit Wilmot, who was like a major contributor the Friday. So I don't know if that's your plan, but if it is, I'm happy to volunteer with that because Wilmot has been crying out for people to come pick up their empties. So
We did have that discussion, so we're totally on board with that, which is great. So thank you. I appreciate it.
awesome.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
keep me posted on that too, because the good thing with the funeral home is I've got vans that don't have back seats in them.
Lovely.
Why is that?
Why?
That's where the stretchers go. Gord.
You want to find out?
Dark humor.
Okay, so
If everybody can just mark that in their agenda, and I'll send out an email to the entire club just asking for volunteers and coordinate that group. That would be fantastic.
awesome. Thanks, Phil.
Phil,
Yep.
Phil, is that again at Watson's, like what we
It
had
is at
before?
Watson's. It is
Okay.
at Watson's. Ted has already got clearance to use the property for the weekend after Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is one of their busy times, but Paul has said, yeah, no problem for that day. So we're good to go.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay, so I got an email yesterday and the Bowmanville Rotary Club were gifted 2 tickets to the Memorial Hospital Foundation online gala, which is happening on October the 29th. So I'm putting it out to the club. First email I get that wants them gets them. So it's totally online. I'm sure there's a silent auction and all of those things that normally are. But yeah, we were gifted them. I believe it was somebody, I want to say OPG. I don't know. I can't remember what I ate like an hour ago. So yeah, but whoever sends me, we've got 2 tickets. So send me an email and they're yours. My other announcements were already covered in Happy Bucks. And I just want to remind everybody that our next meeting on Tuesday is not a morning meeting because it's our multi-club meeting. I believe, John, it's a district governor meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think there's 5 clubs.
5.
Yeah, so it's going to be at 6 o'clock. It's a Zoom only on Tuesday. I do have the Zoom information. I will send it out to everybody this weekend. And yeah, our next meeting will be, our next morning meeting will be October 12th in person or hybrid. So yeah. Other than
Everybody
that,
wear your fanciest pin.
yeah, yes, and let me tell you, I'll be there. If you do not have pins on, you're paying.
You bet. 20
So,
bucks.
Hey, hey, at the flag raising, when was it? Friday?
Friday, yes.
Yeah.
Adrian didn't have his Paul Harris pin on. And
Oh, is that John frozen or me? I'm never sure.
John got frozen.
Okay.
did
So
I
he
freeze?
didn't
Sorry.
have his Paul Harris pill on or his pin on, and he coughed up $20.
Yep.
So the Curtis Club got 10 and we got 10.
Mhm.
And I should also thank everybody who came to the flag raising. It was a great turnout. It was unbelievable. So
Amy,
thank
one
all.
one other thing, Amy, there were a number of us at the commemoration of the tree for George Crone, which was very moving. But I was quite happy with how many of the club members were there.
Yeah, there was probably what, about 10 or 12 of us there, right?
Yes.
Gord?
Yep.
Yeah, Elfie was handing out some fantastic hugs.
Mhm.
Yeah, she really appreciated the support. So I did have that on my notes, but I forgot. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a really heavy Rotary week for a lot of us, events and whatnot, but we all stepped up and, we're a fantastic club and I can't wait to get back to, what we really, really can be.
Mhm.
So yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Have a fantastic weekend.
Thanks for
And
having us, Amy.
We'll see you all on Tuesday.
Hi, all.
Yeah.
Great seeing everybody.
Good night.
How about our quote of the week?
You want the quote of the week?
Oh,
No?
yes.
Yeah, let's not
Yes.
forget the old
Vote of the
governor.
week,
Yes.
sorry, that's right, John, that's you.
Lay it on us, Johnny.
I can't get it right all the time.
That's okay.
You did
Steve
okay,
did the same.
President.
Okay, it's anonymous. I have no idea who wrote it, but I liked it when I read it. Attract what you expect, reflect what you desire, become what you respect, and mirror what you admire. That's it.
Love it. Love it,
Love
Johnny.
it.
It was me that said
Nice.
that.
No, it
Oh,
wasn't.
well done, good.
Have a great night, everyone.
All right, guys. Can't wait to
Yeah.
see you
Bye.
guys soon. Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Travel safely. Bye-bye.